Our next session is Achieve Customer Experience Excellence with Proactive Outreach. We'll learn how deploying a cloud communications platform helps businesses connect with customers how they want, when they want. Imagine if you could anticipate your customers' needs before they even realize they need the support. It's possible with two-way customer communications. With WebEx's single centralized communications platform, businesses can centrally automate and orchestrate customer interactions throughout the entire customer journey. We'll show you how AI, APIs, and low-code tools will revolutionize the customer experience. Now please welcome our next speaker, Sudarshan Damapuri, Vice President of Products at WebEx CPaaS. Come on up.
Thank you. Thank you, Denny. I was going to introduce the session, but Denny did such a great job. I couldn't have done it better myself. So welcome again. Thank you for joining us today. So we're going to be talking about how our CPaaS platform, WebEx Connect, powers proactive outreach and helps you achieve customer experience excellence. Before I jump right in, if you have attended any of the sessions, you know we use Slido for engaging with the audience. So I'd like to invite you to join us on Slido today, participate in the live polls, as well as you can ask and upvote any questions. We have a team of experts backstage who are going to be answering questions throughout the session. And you can just scan the QR code, have the session open, and then we're going to be asking, we're going to be bringing up a poll shortly. So I'd like to introduce my co-presenters. I'll start by welcoming on stage Courtney Monroe. Courtney, come on up. Courtney is Research Vice President at IDC.
Thank you.
He has been covering the global telecoms space for the last 25 years across areas such as unified communications, CPaaS, and more recently has been focused on the impact that these sectors are having on customer experience and customer engagement trends. Thank you for joining us today, Courtney.
Thank you.
Welcome. I would also like to welcome on stage Shival Seth. Shival is Chief Technology Officer in the healthcare industry. He has led the selection and implementation of our CPaaS platform, WebEx Connect. Shival is really passionate about applying technology to transform patient experience in the healthcare industry. And you'll see his passion come through in our conversation shortly. So come on up, Shival.
Thank you for having us, Sudarshan.
Yeah. Thank you both. So proactive outreach is not new for any of us. As consumers, we experience proactive outreach every day as we transact and communicate with organizations. So that ping is very familiar to all of us, right? And what we find from some of the studies that have been carried out is that 87% of consumers want to be contacted proactively by businesses. And 92% of consumers who experience proactive customer service actually report that a positive change in their perception of the brand. So clearly consumers like proactive comms. Brands are using them today. So what is the problem? What is the challenge here? Now the challenge here is that proactive outreach, if implemented incorrectly, can actually cause more harm than good. What we find that a lot of the proactive comms that are done today are one-way dead-end notifications. One of the leading industry analysts found that nearly 2/3 of customers actually end up contacting customer service, which we all know is very expensive, after they've received a piece of communication, because they either needed additional information or they wanted a confirmation, but that reply path was not available in the communication. So the communication they received did not fully meet their needs. It did not provide the level of detail that they require, or it did not offer them clear next steps. So that is essentially the problem statement that we are looking at here. So how do you do proactive outreach right? We believe good proactive outreach should be defined by 4 pillars. So the first one is in-channel self-service, powered by two-way conversational automation. So when a customer receives proactive communication, they should be able to respond within the channel using things like buttons, menus, messages. They should be able to chat with a chatbot that answers routine questions, or they should be even able to get a task bot to carry out tasks to fulfill their requests on their behalf. So in-channel self-service options is really important to couple with proactive communications. The second key aspect is proactive communications has got to be intelligent. Now, what do we mean by that? Now, as a consumer, too much information can be overbearing, too little information can be really frustrating. So intelligent automation helps strike the right balance. For example, suppressing duplicates when you have multiple notifications that need to go out, or rolling up granular ones into a composite message so you're not bombarding consumers with lots of communication. So intelligent automation is the second key pillar. The third aspect is being able to cater to customer preferences on how and when they wish to be contacted. So it's got to be the customer's choice of channels, it's got to be with their consent, it has to be in their choice of language, and they have to have control over the types of communications they want to receive. And the fourth aspect is, with all the automation, there are still cases where a human touch, a human agent is required. And that's where the capability to take a conversation and seamlessly hand it over to a live agent is so important. Yeah, so this is the Slido poll that I talked about. So we asked you, what's the biggest challenge to achieving excellent proactive comms in your business today? So if you could just take a moment to respond, we'd really appreciate that. Complexity of integrating with business systems, that seems to be a pretty clear winner. Lack of a central architectural control point. We're going to be covering some of these on how you can address some of these challenges as we go along. So thank you for your responses. So next I'd like to bring in Courtney into the conversation. So Courtney, we spoke a little bit about proactive outreach. How does that resonate with what you're seeing in the market in terms of the wider digital experience trends?
Sure. Let's move to the next chart. So at IDC, we've been looking at the whole process of digital transformation over the last 5-7 years. And now most companies are well along that journey. A small amount of companies are what we call digital first, but the majority of companies are still either engaging in, say, siloed projects where they're transitioning to a digital approach. And most companies are trying to reach that stage where they have a comprehensive digital strategy and truly becoming digital first. So what we said over the last 5 years is most of spending in IT has been dominated on digital transformation. Going forward, over the next few years, that spending is going to focus really on customer experience and what I call customer engagement. And CPaaS platforms like Cisco's Connect is going to be very, very important and central to that process. Why? Well, I think over the last 5-10 years, companies have been focusing on moving to digital channels. So you want to communicate with your customers, say on SMS or voice digitally, and you send out millions and millions of notifications for, say, marketing messages. I think that's sort of evolving, and companies are focusing less on the ability to send out millions of messages, more on the complexity, as Sudarshan said. How do you manage multiple platforms? How do you know it's efficient what you're doing? How do you automate? So I think the next 5 years, we're going to see CPaaS companies focusing on customer experience and customer engagement with CPaaS.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for that. So as organizations move into the digital era that you spoke about, Courtney, what we find is that there is an explosion of customer engagement use cases. And within an organization, we see this explosion across product and business units, across geographies, across different stages of the customer life cycle, across different channels. So for example, if you take healthcare as a sector, you could have referrals and registration, you could have appointment management, you could have patient experience surveys. So all of these are different use cases just within one single industry. And if you think about it, each of these use cases operates in the space between customer touch points on the one hand and your existing business systems on the other hand. What we find is that organizations take a very traditional programming intensive approach to implementing these use cases. So typically they end up implementing each use case as a separate application, which leads to a proliferation of these single purpose applications, which are not only expensive and time consuming to create in the first place, but they're also very complex to deploy, operate, scale, secure, and manage over time. And such a fragmented approach only results in disconnected customer experiences. So what we find is that adopting a central enterprise-wide platform approach is a very clear and immediate opportunity that we see. So Courtney, how do you see that enterprise-wide platform approach working in the market, and what are some of the CPaaS trends that you're seeing there?
Right. Well, there's a couple of points I want to make. I think that, you know, a few years ago, it was really, CPaaS was all about simplifying, moving to these digital platforms. And you know, now that we're on these digital platforms, the task is, how do you simplify managing, you know, a wide array of diverse channels, right? So in the US, people will communicate mostly on SMS, but if you go to India, you go to Brazil, it's WhatsApp, right? You go to other countries, it's Facebook Messenger, it's Instagram. So I think CPaaS is all about, you know, you want to achieve global scale because you want to reach customers in various countries along various channels. You want to have a partner that can help you sort of integrate along, so with a unified API. You want to be able to automate. And as we can see, you know, with the advent of AI, you want to figure out how to use AI. So what does that mean? Well, you know, despite all of the uncertainties, whether it's, you know, we've seen in tech over the last 6 to 18 months, high interest rates, uncertainties, will we have a recession? Won't we have a recession? You know, some of the questions around regulations and compliance and sustainability. You know, what we've seen is that CEOs will continue to spend on tech. They're very optimistic. But how companies spend is evolving. Companies want to understand, well, you know, how do I manage efficiently the life cycle of a customer, right? From sort of acquiring that customer through marketing campaigns, to managing the experience and the preferences for various channels while, you know, they're a customer, and how do I help them upsell and spend more with my company? So I think that the key is managing a digital infrastructure, but also realizing the tangible benefits and understanding what the customer wants and how I can help them spend more.
Great, thank you. So you mentioned AI. Of course, this session is all about AI. So how do you see AI in general and generative AI in particular as they get applied to customer communications?
Sure. Well, we look at AI in a holistic way, right? At IDC, we believe in the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be what we call AI everywhere. It's going to be ubiquitous. It's like the internet now. But Gen AI is just one step towards AI everywhere. And Gen AI brings its challenges, and I think we kind of look at it in 3 stages. One is sort of the first stage where companies have to figure out sort of their guardrails and the AI policy. Is my team educated and trained in how to use the data that we have? And what are my responsibilities with the customer data, right? So that's kind of the first phase that companies are trying to figure out now. And the second phase is the whole architecture, the data lakes, right? Which LLMs do I use? How does it integrate with my data? Should I have sort of my own sort of LLM? So that's kind of the second stage, right? The whole data architecture issue. And then you go to the use cases, and that's going to vary significantly. There's going to be what we call productivity use cases, whether it's like leveraging sort of a low-code application internally, sort of leveraging collaboration. We've heard a lot about how AI is going to enhance collaboration from Cisco over the last day or so. And then you get to business process use cases, right? Chatbots is the most easy example to talk about that everyone uses. How do you sort of make that more intelligent and leverage AI to reduce costs, like in your call center, et cetera? And then lastly, there's going to be more specific vertical, specific use cases for financials. We're going to hear how Chevelle uses it in healthcare. So we believe that there's going to be multiple steps. We're at the beginning of that journey, and there's lots to learn about it.
Thank you for those insights. So moving along, we're going to look at how proactive outreach is powered by Webex Connect. Again, there are 4 key aspects here. So you will see most CPaaS vendors start by talking about the range of digital channels that they support. Whereas we believe that for CPaaS to really work within a large enterprise, within a large organization, we've got to solve for the integration side of the equation equally well. And that's where we start. So think of all the existing systems within the IT estate. So it's very critical to have those bidirectional integrations with those systems. So I'll take an example and explain the key capabilities of the platform here. So let's take airline industry. Let's say there is a flight cancellation. Hopefully it doesn't happen to any of us. Most of us have traveled to be here, and we're going to be traveling back home. But let's take that as an example. So flight cancellation is an event. That event then needs to be consumed by the CPaaS platform to trigger a disruption management journey for customers. So the trigger comes in, and then you need a business process. You need logic, where you're going to be doing things like figuring out who the impacted passengers are, what is their choice of communication channel, what language do they want to be contacted on. So there's aspects around decisioning, branching, being able to do database lookups, integrate with systems. And then finally, you construct a message about the cancellation event, and you send that out on a particular channel. But again, it can't be a dead-end notification. You have to enable within the channel self-service capabilities. And that's where things like AI and natural language conversations come in. So the consumer may reply and say, hey, what are my options? Can I get booked on a different flight? What happens if I want a cancellation? And you have to be able to take what the customer wants and then fulfill the request, which again needs integrations with those backend systems. And you have to be able to do this across a range of channels, everything from basic text messages to RCS, to Apple Messages for Business, to WhatsApp, and a range of other channels. So what we've done is we've taken those core capabilities, and those form the 4 pillars within the CPaaS platform. So the integrations layer provides out-of-the-box integrations and also allows users to configure their own integrations. It's about protecting investments that you've already made in your systems. So for your digital transformation, you should not have to rip and replace or re-engineer your existing systems. The second is about how do you accelerate time to market and time to value for new customer engagement use cases. So that's where some of the low-code capabilities come in. And then you have the AI-powered conversational automation. And then, of course, the communications channel layer insulates your business systems from the complexities of all the underlying channel integrations, because these channels keep evolving, they keep changing, so you need a layer that insulates your business systems from all of those changes. All of these functional capabilities are packaged with enterprise-grade controls, permissions, reports, dashboards, analytics, the elastic scaling that comes from cloud-native architectures, and regulatory controls and 24/7 tech support. So that, in a nutshell, is what Webex Connect is. This is a sneak peek of how it works. The flow builder is a central part. There's a list of pre-built capabilities that we call nodes. So technical analysts or developers can simply drag and drop some of these nodes, and they can start building these customer journeys in a very quick and easy way. And of course, the platform is designed to help deliver a connected experience across the entire customer journey, right? So what starts as a proactive outreach can quickly be expanded to include self-service options, things like payments. Then how do you cross-sell, upsell offers within the channel by integrating with marketing systems, elevating the conversation to a human agent within a contact center environment where required, and doing follow-up engagement like deploying a survey or following up with additional offers and promotions. So with that, I'd like to bring Shival in. Shival, do you want to start by introducing yourself and your background?
Thank you, Sudarshan. Good afternoon all. Myself, Shival Seth. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for a few hospitals in Canada. And I'm really glad to be here to actually talk about more on what the capability of Webex Connect and CPaaS is, and also talk in general about how technology has evolved and how digital is more of an enabler out there in really helping in driving solutions and bringing in the revenue optimization and efficiency. And at last, I do have a mantra: what you lack in skill, you make up in will.
Great. So patient expectations and the patient experience are evolving. So how do you see that aligning with the vision and mission of healthcare providers and hospitals maybe in particular, given your background?
Great question, Sudarshan. Yes, it's been evolving. It's been challenging. Keeping up, we all know the elephant in the room we can't avoid is the COVID, which has completely transformed the way healthcare works and the way we interact with our patients. And we learned through this the hard way when we were in the early stages of COVID in really implementing Webex as a platform for virtual care and virtual assistance, which was a huge success in really enabling patient healthcare with using the technology in the right way. We went the step ahead and looking at different ways where we can actually bring in the patient journey together of really bringing the facets of patients while they're being onboarded or offboarded by utilizing the Webex Connect and different platforms within the Cisco ecosystem.
Great. Was there a particular tipping point that crystallized the need for you to change your approach to the technology?
Absolutely. Like, I will give you a few use cases there, and I'm happy to indulge in more if my peers would like off the stage. Purely around the way healthcare has been, like we all call healthcare has evolved, now it's a digital system, but we are still far behind in terms of our processes. We're still very paper-based. I'll give a small example about which is a growing concern for everyone in the US and Canada around a central scheduling office, where even today, when someone calls in sick or someone calls in for any kind of assistance, you are actually making calls around finding shifts for people who are available. A good example of that, we used to make close to around 30,000 calls a week. And those were all manual calls in terms of how we were working through. And it's not sustainable doing 30,000 calls with 60 to 65 people working 24/7 in really doing the scheduling, while that can be completely automated and transformed by using Webex Connect, which was a great use case for us, and a tipping point when we started speaking with Cisco in really understanding how we can use the power of AI and technology together to really utilize that and use those 60 to 65 people in the right way in healthcare where the resources are really required to provide better patient care.
So how did you choose Webex and Webex Connect?
Well, for us, it was pretty simple, to be honest. And why I say that is because Webex was the only platform that was approved or tested with end-to-end encryption with the provincial and the federal governments in Canada and even in US. And it was supposed to be the platform where you can actually exchange PHI and PIA in a secure way with end-to-end encryption. And over and above that, when as a patient, if I look at that way, you don't need to have an application on your machine or on your laptop or a mobile device. With the WebEx, Instant Connect was all available inside a browser, which made that an obvious option for us. And over and above that, people who are now equipped with WebEx Desk and other devices, it's a single click of a button for them to look at it. So it was the ease of access from a single pane of glass for them to use this technology in the right way.
Great, awesome. So the real value of a platform like WebEx Connect bears fruit only as the usage and adoption grows. So you mentioned some of the initial use cases. How do you see the adoption progressing over time, and what's next for you?
Well, I would say people usually call WebEx Connect as a CPaaS solution. I call it as a business transformation, a real solution that can automate business and really bring value to the business. I will give you a few examples and a few use cases that we are working through. One of them is around HR. Why do people have to log on to VPN to really look at their vacation balances or to apply for an off? They can pretty much utilize and text and find out exactly what their vacation balances is. That's one of the pieces we are using WebEx Connect as. And we're also using it in regards to diagnostic imaging. A great way to look at it is also around, because we're in Canada with the public healthcare, we're really focusing around how we can actually drive efficiencies where people have been waiting for 4 to 5 months for their appointment. By using a WebEx Connect as a platform, that they're able to really find an available appointment and get themselves diagnosed in a matter of minutes.
Awesome, great, thank you. So this session, as you know, is all about AI. So it would not be complete if we did not have an announcement around AI. So we were thinking about, what is the next wave of innovation in proactive communications? How do we go about applying AI and generative AI in particular? And what we came up with was, in the universe of customer interactions, there's a big category of use cases where the density of information that needs to be conveyed is very high, and the need for interactivity and personalization are also very high. So for example, think about explaining a bill, an energy bill, to a new customer who's just buying a service from you, or explaining a medical appointment, how to prepare for it, or explaining what happens after a customer has filed an insurance claim. So these are cases where a lot of information needs to be communicated in a very personalized way and in a very interactive way. So that's where we decided to apply generative AI, because it really changes the economics. Now it's as quick and efficient to create a personalized video as it is to set up a simple HTML email template. And the cost of delivering these video communications is also on par with what we see with some of the other channels. So let's take a look at one such example. This is from the healthcare industry. The customer receives a message, they have an appointment coming up.
Hello, Alex.
They click on the link and they get to watch this personalized video.
On Friday, October 20th at 8 a.m. The purpose of your appointment is to perform your annual physical exam. To ensure that your visit goes smoothly, please take note of the following instructions. Please arrive at the clinic 30 minutes before your scheduled appointment time to allow for check-in. Please fast for 8 hours before your appointment for accurate blood test results. Tap on Confirm to confirm your appointment. To reschedule or cancel the appointment, tap on Reschedule.
So what you saw there was everything from the avatar to the background image to the script itself, the lip sync. They're all powered by generative AI. And we are very pleased to be adding this capability to WebEx Connect. And if any of you would like to find out more, you can scan this QR code and experience an example for yourself. And if you visit us at our the demo stand, there are 3 use cases that are live that you can experience. And with that, I'm going to wrap up, but I'd like to get your feedback on the session again on Slido. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for your attention.